Hello everybody, welcome to Race 6 of the iGPFun-SRF League. This is 2015 Season 2. We are racing for about 45 minutes at Mount Panorama. 17 laps around this very treacherous and exciting circuit. Jamie Fluke is on pole position, very fast, impressive, 2 minutes 36.8. Evan Merrill is just behind him, and tight field, tight grid behind them, as it's often the case in this league. You can read the lap times, the qualifying results by yourself. Cars are getting ready to start. The engines are revving. We are looking down the first straight. Here we go. Very clean start. Everybody is getting single file. We always have clean starts in this league. We are looking now at the field going up hill along fourth straight. Evan Merrill, blue and white and black car, is really on the tail of Jamie Fluke, the leader, with a red and black car. Turn 2, and now the uphill section. It's twisty, it's narrow, it's dangerous. If you put the wheel off track, you have the wall waiting for you. Position 3 is Luca Varani with a purple car. Everybody is very patient, very well behaved. It's not really possible to overtake over here. Cars are now at the top of the hill. You don't really appreciate it from this view. And now they start descending. We're approaching the deeper now. It's a very difficult corner. Jamie's actually lost it. Jamie has lost control, collected Evan. Everybody else seems to be safely through. That was good for the field, really bad for the race. We lost the top two drivers, top two qualifiers, very fast drivers. Luca Varani is now leading the race with just about everybody else behind him. Giovanni Sellito, Claudio Ferrari, black car, number 74 is Stian Svensson. They're around position 10, and they are passing each other with a draft down the straight. Thibaut Vernis going on the inside, late braking for the chase. Very clean overtaking both from Thibaut and Claudio ahead of him. Meanwhile, both Jamie Fluke and Evan Merrill actually got a tow back to the pits, so they are not in contention for the race anymore. Thibaut Vernis attacking Giovanni Sellito for position 8, I believe. Let me see, position 11, sorry. Brian Bennett, meanwhile, is having a look at Jason Perry on the outside going into turn 2. And up ahead is Ignacio Hernandez-Ross and Pierre-Antoine Copol. Brian Bennett up to position 6 on the outside of Jason, and behind him Rickstar Moreno Paredes just past Richard Yalan for position 8. Nice group of cars here. This is the leader, Luca Varani. Jason Perry following Brian Bennett. Don't pass there, Jason. Jason is just dangerous. Here are the cars. This is a very nice flat out corner with these cars. Fourth gear, about 160 kilometers per hour. It's very, very fast, very nice corner. A little bit of camber keeping you actually inside. That was Tim Phillips going wide. Let's see if we can go back to the group of cars actually. We have the trees in the middle of our view, sorry. This is Luca Agretti, the green and grey car, position 4, third actually. Position 4 for Pierre-Antoine Copol, then Ignacio Hernandez-Ross. Pierre-Antoine is very close, he's probably going to attack under braking. Is he? No, he's not actually, he sits behind. Meanwhile, Richter has been attacked and passed by Richard Yalland. Claudio Ferrari, Giovanni Salito, a lot of our cars. That's a long shot view, we can appreciate the group, this group of 5-7 cars. Brian Bennett passing somebody on the inside, I'm not sure, Gerard McRivy, I don't know the pronunciation of his name, I'm sorry. Gianni Salito on the inside, Claudio having a look in T1, nobody passes, actually Brian can go on the outside of Gianni. Gianni had to slow down because he was on the wrong line, and actually Brian took advantage of it. Claudio Ferrari attacking Ron Wallace, moving up to turn 2. You can see side-by-side racing, but very, very clean, very respectful racing. Richard Yalland and Rickster Moreno Paredes in the foreground, still close to each other. Pierre-Antoine, Luca and Ignacio battle for position 3, 4 and 5. Up front is Luca Varani with Edward Forer on his tail. This is the dipper. It's a very, very steep downhill section. It's right, left again, right and left and right. It's a really twisty section, very, very treacherous. I don't know whom to follow with the cameras. There are close racing everywhere, of course. It's the early laps. The group was position 9, looks nice. That's Thibaut Vernis. Then Ron Wallace, number 4, blue car. Brian Bennett with a red and green cyan. I don't know, you want to call it that color. Number 58. Claudio Ferrari and Gianni Salito behind him. Ian Benson in the middle, passing Claudio. Behind them, Gerard and Mark Underwood side by side. Too wide everywhere. Claudio Ferrari passing Thibaut. Now it's Mark and Gerard. Gianni Salito attacking Stian into turn 1. This is 3 laps completed meanwhile out of 17. Everybody falling in line, but just behind them is Jason Perry with a yellow car attacking Orest Ludwig. That's a pass for position 16. Let's go back to our group of fighters. Thibaut and Claudio side by side. Meanwhile, Brian has passed Ron Wallace. Very clean racing. That's very respectful. Very nice to see. Mark Underwood on the inside, down position 14. Let's have a look at the view from the nose of Mark. This is Gianni Sellito's car. He has the iGPFun logo on the right of his car. Thank you for supporting our league. It's a little bit of curve for our Gianni. This is the dipper. That's this one here is the dipper. Just a sudden drop. This is Mark. Behind him, Mark is another. That's getting close. This is the final corner leading into the long straight where all the passing takes place. Let's move to an outside camera view. Mark, blue and white car, is another driver with a iGPFun logo on his livery. Meanwhile, actually, the battle for third place, Pierre-Antoine is now in position 3. Position 4 for Ignacio, the grey, red and black car. Luca Gretti down to position 5. He was 4th last lap, so he lost a couple of places. Up ahead, with 4 laps completed, is Luca Varani leading the race. 38.0 is lap time. Edward is 2nd, now 2 seconds behind him, so he has lost the draft. Jamie Fluke, 2 minutes 37.0, very, very fast, but he's driving by himself really with nobody in sight after he had to pit for repairs. Evan Merrill, 38.2, a little slower, he may have had some traffic issue. Meanwhile, I'm sorry, I lost Luca Gretti passing Ignacio for position 3. That gave actually a chance to Richard and Rickstar behind them to get close. So we have Luca Varani leading the race, driving for Switzerland. He's Italian, but he's Switzerland club. Edward Forer, America. United States, I think it's New Rhode Island, maybe something like that, I don't remember. Pierre-Antoine for France, Luca Gretti for Italy, Ignacio for Spain, Richard for England. So we have quite a few countries represented at the top of the standings right now. I was saying earlier, Jamie Fluke and Evan Merrill got crashed out on the first lap of the race, so this is actually giving everybody else a good shot at an important finish, a good position at a podium even at the end of the race. The race is long though, the track is difficult, we expect other accidents actually. This is Stian with a black car, driving for Sweden and passing Thibaut Vernies for position 10. Thibaut going back under braking, not really. Last corner, not really a place to pass. I mean, you can do it on the last lap, of course, but it's not convenient to do it earlier. It's much easier to actually wait for the long straight after turn 1, but Thibaut is actually attacking for turn 1. I wouldn't have done it. But he takes the position, he is now 10th. I was saying I wouldn't have done it just because it's easier to sit behind your opponent on turn 1 and then get a good exit, get a good toe, up the long straight and just pass into turn 2 as Stian is now doing on the outside. Oh, Stian is wide. I hope he didn't. Sorry, Will. I don't know. I hope he seems to have collected Claudio, because Claudio Ferrari is slow as well. I apologize, I'm actually not showing replays, because then the whole scoring system basically crashes out. There are some glitches with the program, so I'd rather not show the replay. I hope you don't mind. Battle for third and fourth. Actually, the drivers in the picture right now are position 4, 5, 6 and 7. Pierre-Antoine Coppola as that was Luca sliding all over the place. He's gonna be under attack by Richard now. Richard himself went a little wide. You see how easy it is to make mistakes on this track. That's very nice corner by Richard. We lost them again. So let's see if Richard will actually attack, taking advantage of the draft. He is passing on the inside of this kink, but on the outside for the real corner, which is this one, and pulling Rickstar behind him for position 6 with a black car. So 2 places lost by Luca Agretti. Luca, a very fast and competent driver, is not having a lot of time for training lately and is suffering a little out of it. He won the last race, or second to last race last season, always a very strong contender. Is not doing great this time around. This is Rickstar point of view. 6 laps completed meanwhile. Just to give you an idea of the pace of the position, sorry. Edward is now 2.4 seconds behind Luca, so he's not in a draft range anymore. Fastest drivers on track are Jamie Fluke, 2 minutes 36.8, his fastest lap. 2 minutes, let's see this lap, what is it? It's 37.6, it doesn't change it actually. I can see 37.0 on my scoring chart. So they're actually almost 8/10, 1 second faster than the leaders, but of course they are far behind. Going through the cars, this is Richard Yalland, position 6. You can be faster in this section of the track, but it's just not a place to pass. And it's very wise actually by Richard to give some room. That was Pierre-Antoine that's crashed against the wall. So Pierre-Antoine was in 3rd place. It's now 11 and going down and down. He crashed out at the dipper by himself, by the look of it. So I was saying, Richard has always been doing very well on this track. He was 2nd or 3rd, I don't remember, last season. Now he's getting a good tow behind Rickstar. Let's see if he attacks or not. No, he lifts. He just sits behind him. He has Luca Agretti in his mirrors. Another couple of close cars is Gerard and Pierre-Antoine were damaged. So Pierre-Antoine actually managed to restart after slamming against the wall. Not a very healthy car he has. Gerard himself has quite some damage. They must have collected the wall somehow. Oh, Pierre-Antoine is pitting or repairs, clearly. Jason Perry is behind them, position 15. He was up front, actually he had a good pace, but he spun out on lap 2. Meanwhile, let's go back to watching Luca Agretti and Richard Yallan. Let's see what they do. I was saying Jason, he won 2 or 3 races this week at this track on the official iRacing season. He crashed out early in the race, so he's not going to have a good result this time around. While I can see in my scoring board that the leader has actually lapped in 2 minutes 37.5. That's the same time he had done in qualify, so he's pushing a little. And he has opened a 3.6 seconds gap to Edward Forer in position 2. Let's have a look from the nose camera in Luca Agretti's car. The numbers at the bottom, so the bottom left you have the lap time of the previous lap. In yellow you have the current speed for the drivers shown. The number in the middle, let's look at Richard. So the number in the middle is 0.7 is actually the gap, 0.5 now. So the gap to the car behind him, to the driver whose name is shown on the right. And finally, the lap time on the right, the number on the right, 12.7 seconds now, is the gap of Luca Agretti from the leader of the race. Richard getting very close behind Richter. Let's stick with this view, but I guess, yeah, nobody's in view now. Is Richter, who is in position 5. And getting a look on the inside. That's a corner where I said I wouldn't pass. They don't agree with me, but you see how much slower actually Richter had to be just because he went side by side into this corner. And now Brian, number 58, the 4th car in this shot, has actually coaxed this group of cars back. We are staying with these drivers for a while. I think it's 8 laps completed. Let me have a look. I'm not sure if it's 7 or 8. It's not clear. Meanwhile, Richter, black car, is passing Richard once again. I think these two guys have overtaken each other 4 or 5 times already. Yeah, 8 laps completed. This is lap 9 out of 17, so we are halfway through the race. And still not a dull moment. So you saw maybe the back of a shot. Brian just went wide and made himself visible in Luca's mirrors. So actually Luca was worried about it, and he had to compromise his line. And you see how much of a gap it was created between these two cars and the 2 cars in front. It's really, actually it's 1.1 seconds lost just because of a look side by side into the uphill left-hander. This section of the track, I was saying, passing is virtually impossible. It's just too risky. It's a little bit, Richard had a brush against the wall on the outside of that left-hander leading into the long straight. So I was saying, actually, let's switch to the Claudio Ferrari attacking Mark Underwood for position 10. So I was saying that mountain section reminds me of Monaco, the Formula 1 Monte Carlo Grand Prix in a way. It's very narrow. If you put a wheel in the wrong place, you actually end up against the wall, the rails at Monaco. No passing. It's not my favorite track to race on, but once in a while it is interesting to try something different. Very, very different track from last week race at Phillip Island. That was a very large, flowing track. Claudio and Mark having a look inside, but it's not really alongside. I think he's actually just moving out to see his reference point for braking, to better see it. Up front, it's actually 4.7 seconds between Luca Varani and Edward Forer. Then there is a 6.4 seconds gap to Ignacio Hernandez Ross, position 3. Position 4, another 3 seconds behind is Rickstar and Richard. They've been driving together the whole race. Rickstar Moreno Paredes and Richard Yalland. They lost about 3 seconds from Ignacio just because of fighting with each other. Brian Bennett now in position 6. He has just passed Luca Agretti for 6. Luca Agretti is now in 7. I apologize, it's difficult for me to catch everything with spin. Actually, that was unlucky. Spin by Brian. He waits patiently before rejoining the race. You have to wait. It's a blind corner, so you just have to rely on the marshal and the flags and or the spotter information. So he has been very patient and is losing a lot of places. He's now 11 behind Mark Underwood, so he lost 5 places. Richard and Rickstar. Thibaut Vernies, meanwhile, has passed Luca Agretti. Luca had to slow down because of a spin by Brian. He lost momentum and Thibaut went through. I think Thibaut started 15. Let me check. Yes, 15 on the grid. He's up to position 6. Well done. Ten laps completed meanwhile. In the background you can see Gianni Sellito, Claudio Ferrari and Mark Underwood. Let's look at them. With Brian Bennett behind them in the background. These two guys been battling in and out for almost every single lap of the last 3 races. They must be getting to know each other well. Position 9, 10 in this league is nothing to complain about. It's a very competent field of drivers. Also, very, very clean racing, very respectful. Sometimes accidents happen, of course, but there are never hard feelings, no dumb moves. Everybody is very respectful. And very nice, very friendly atmosphere. I mean, we drive hard. Overtaking moves are hard, are very harsh, very aggressive when needed, but always respectful. So, if you plan to join us for our races, you are very welcome too. I'm sure you will not regret it. You will have fun. There are battles to be had. Sorry, I lost some of the guys. Let's see. Jamie Fluke now in position 14. 36.8. That's its last lap. That's impressive pace. And is sitting behind Pierre-Antoine Coupole. Again, sorry for the pronunciation. You will probably attack him and pass him at the end of a straight. If you watch the speed, you will see Jamie picking up speed with the draft. You see he's now 7 kilometers per hour faster than Pierre-Antoine, and now he has a clear shot on the outside. He's almost 10 kilometers faster, up to position 13. Of course, Jamie was a big favorite for this race. Sadly and unfortunately, he crashed out. Meanwhile, Gerard McAreevy, I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry, is pitting for repairs. Probably the damage is just making the driving unbearable. Let's go back to Richard with 0.1 seconds behind Rickstar, battle for position 4. Eleven laps completed meanwhile, 6 to go. This is a bit deeper, this one, very similar to the corkscrew corner at Laguna Seca. Another very famous corner in racing. These two have been driving together for the whole race, really. About 200 kilometers per hour, that's the top speed for this car. 208, this is the draft, 110. The car is underpowered. It has a Ford engine coming from a production car. It's slow, but it's actually a lot of fun to drive. Races are always very close. You certainly learn the fine art of racing and passing and defending. It's also a very good training car for actually driving single-seaters. The power is low, so you're not gonna spin the car out of a corner just by stepping on the gas pedal, but you actually do need to learn throttle control for a couple of reasons. So on corner exit, the car has a rather annoying tendency to understeer, so you actually need to lift and apply throttle very, very gradually to, how do you say, to prevent the car from understeering too badly. Let's see if we can actually, sorry for this, let's see if we can have a look at the inputs from Luca Varani. Yeah, that's the speed, miles per hour, throttle and braking. So we're saying this is not the section to look at what is going on, but have a look at how he uses the brake and gas pedal together really to control the asset of the car. He had to lift on exit, but he was just understeering towards the concrete wall really. So I was saying on exit you have to be careful for the understeer. On corner entry instead, the car has a very, very pronounced off-throttle oversteer. It's actually very easy to lose the back end under braking on corner entry. This depends on the abnormal weight distribution of the car. It was designed for a Renault engine, then they swapped a Ford engine in, and the weight distribution just was not good enough to accommodate this power unit. However, the result is that the car has become, as I say, you need to be very delicate with the inputs. Braking is usually done in a straight line, completed before turn in. That's old style driving, it pays. And then you want to apply the throttle well before the apex. I would like to show you this cockpit view actually of Jamie, who is the fastest driver on track right now, but we have telemetry information just for Varani's car. Third gear, now it's fourth. Going uphill, it's a very, very steep incline. The car struggled to move up. No braking, no throttle to let the car rotate a little, and then gentle throttle, just a little bit of throttle to actually prevent the back end from stepping out. This section is all flat out. This is easy, and now the fast left-hander, you can actually, it is flat out, but if you're not careful, you can go wide over the curb and lose it. You can see here, for instance, applying the throttle well before the apex of the dipper. Same here. Okay, let's go back to our outside view. Richard and Moreno are still fighting for position, and Claudio and Gianni are also fighting for position. 13 laps completed meanwhile, so it's about 4 to go. Let's go through the standings actually. Luca Varani, first place. Edward Forer, very, very nice livery, very elegant, I really like it. Second place, we didn't look at him, but he's driving a very consistent, error-free race. He's a rookie, has only raced, I believe, 4 races in the iGPFun League, but he's doing very well. 14 laps completed by me in the meantime. Third place for Ignacio. He had some spins and accidents in previous races. He's doing very well now. Very well deserved podium position for now. Rickstar Moreno Paredes, position 4, with Richard Yalland on his tail. Thibaut Vernis is 6. Somebody was in the pit lane, I didn't quite catch who. Luca Agretti, he was 3rd at the time. He has slipped down to position 7 with no mistakes. I mean, his car has no damages. It's just he has lost a few positions over and over. Luca is actually a very fast driver, but lately he has not been able to train enough, and performance has suffered a little bit, but I'm sure he will be back at the top of the standings soon. 8th, Gianni Sellito with a yellow and blue car, with Claudio Ferrari right behind him. Position 9. 10 is, let's look at this. Gianni went wide, it outbraked himself, and Claudio could go through, and you see how much of a gap he actually opened. It's a 1.3 second gap. Position 10, Mark Underwood. Very, very good race by him. 10th place is good. Brian Bennett is 11 after his spin at the dipper. 12th place for Pierre-Antoine Coupole. Jamie Fluke is position 13. He must have had some other problem because he had passed Pierre-Antoine for position a couple of laps ago. Gerard McAreevy, position 14. Evan Merrill, he crashed out on the first lap, collected by the spin by Jamie, and is in position 15. 2 minutes 46. He must have had some mistake in the previous lap. Jason Perry, position 16. Orest Ludwig is 17. Jonathan Kier, we never looked at him, is actually 18. He drove a very, very nice race last week at Phillip Island. Tim Phillips is 19th. Ron Wallace is 20th. And Dana Zikas, not sure how you pronounce it. First race with us in our league. He has driven a nice race at the back of the field, sure, but no mistakes, no contact, no damage to the car. That's certainly to be uploaded. Let me see, my scoring has actually stopped. I think it's 15 laps completed. Yes, this is lap 16. So 2 laps to go. Richard has actually overtaken Tristar. Gianni Sellito is attacking Claudio once again. Let's stick with these two guys. It's only 2 laps to go. They're fighting for position 9. That's an exciting battle. Behind them, Brian Bennett has caught Mark Underwood and is chasing him. I'm not sure whom to follow with the cameras. There are 0.2 seconds between these 2 cars and also between the 2 cars up front. I guess they will overtake on the long straight. So I'm not sure why Gianni is so far behind Claudio, but this is Brian driving over the grass. Don't do that, Brian. You have plenty of room to pass without doing that. Mark getting very close under braking. This is gonna be the last. In the last lap, we're gonna see action on this corner, I'm sure. Let's look again. Gianni and Claudio. Claudio is a little wide, just over the curb. Gianni having a look inside. I wouldn't pass. This is the last lap. Yes, it is. He could easily overtake here with a draft, but I wouldn't do it. It's just you want to be second so that you can actually pass on the final straight. The other positions appear to be consolidated. So let's follow these guys. Luca Varani is actually leading with 10-second gap to Edward Forer, so not worth looking at them. This is Gianni's view. This is from Claudio. You can see the yellow car in his mirrors. You don't need to worry about being overtaken here, so you don't really drive your mirrors in your part of the track, but you do as soon as the downhill section is over. Gianni is very close. Behind them, a big gap to Brian. Gianni seems far behind Claudio, but it's actually not the case. It's a very long straightaway. The draft has a very significant effect with this car. I'm sure that Gianni will be able to attack towards the end of the straight. You see, he's picking up speed and closing and closing. That's almost 10 kilometers per hour faster. Ooh, it touched the grass and is too fast. Gianni is out. Claudio has spun. Brian has passed, but Mark is actually on his inside for the last corner. Battle for position 9. Let's see if Brian can cross over. No. Well done, Mark. That was a nice pass on the final corner. Claudio just a couple of tenths before Pierre-Antoine after his spin. Jamie finishing in position 13. Gerard is 14. 15 is Evan. Jason Perry 16, Ores 17, and you will be able to read the final standings in a moment. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. I apologize for the low quality of my commentary, but hope to see you again on track for our races and off track if you enjoy the broadcast. Thanks again. Goodbye.